Michael, my favorite time of the weekend. We got a special edition of a storm warning. We got a special storm coming. This is all football betting guide related. So with that as a backdrop, I want to see my favorite fan base, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Chicago Bears. Everybody loves to bet on those teams. Nobody is more enthusiastic about betting but the Bears fans and certainly the Steelers. But you have some advice for the audiences to avoid that trap.
So, Michael, I will never dog anybody for wanting to bet their favorite team to win the Super Bowl. Have your fun, play whatever you want to do. But if you want to have success long term, you've got to eliminate the bias, right? Bet with your head, not with your heart. And that goes whether you're betting on a team or player or against one, right? You're going to feel better about your bet if it's backed by reason and research. And just like we were talking about a moment ago with Mike Somich on the program, he mentioned that he likes Jared Goff to win NFL MVP. You don't have to think that Goff is Mahomes and believe that he's the best player in the league to think that 40-1 is probably a little bit too long for that wager, considering the situation that he has in Detroit. We talk about how good he is, not having to play outside. They only have 3 true outdoor games all season long. Last year, 2nd in passing, 3rd in yards per game, 4th in touchdowns, 5th in completion percentage. They make the NFC Championship game and are probably going to be better this year. 40-1 feels like a stretch. We talked yesterday about the Bo Nix pick. Matt Brown and Femi Abebefe both wrote up him at 18-1 for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Matt Brown summed it up great in the guide. Quote, "What my personal opinion is of Bo Nix and how good he can be in the NFL is irrelevant to this discussion. This bet is about price and opportunity." And I just think overall, it's a good reminder as humans, we can get caught up a little bit in perception and what we want to have happen instead of the reality sometimes of what actually is likely to happen.
Great advice. And carry that over to every part of your life, but especially in the betting world, is sometimes we have to have an open mind leads us to an open betting book. And we'll think of things in a different way because as the great Bill Walsh said, if we're all thinking alike, no one's thinking. So we're 10 weeks away from the kickoff of the regular season. It'll get here faster than we all think it will, right? There's only so much sun and beach we can handle. So what's the best way bettors should take advantage of this downtime?
Yeah, I mean, some people think that the NFL season starts in September, and that's just laughable because we all know it started back in February and March already. So while we still have another month before training camps and time before we get to those day 1, week 1 games, use your summertime wisely. Use this time to research, dive into the schedule, get caught up in who's where across the league, and recognize actionable trends as well. Going through the guide, some really interesting nuggets here. Rookie quarterbacks, for example, in recent history tend to have slow starts. According to Steve Makinen, over the last 21 week 1 through 3 games, rookie QBs 2-18-1 straight up, 5-15-1 against the spread, averaging 16.6 points per game. So look at Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and Bo Nix. Those early schedules, not gauntlets, but rookie quarterbacks with 2 of their first 3 games all on the road. Remember these nuggets. Find these trends in awards markets. Look at criteria and awards history. We talk about the comeback player of the year criteria changing this year. We have a little bit of guidance. Use that to eliminate players from who you might have in consideration. Christian McCaffrey is the second shortest shot to repeat for Offensive Player of the Year this year. When's the last time there was a repeat winner in that market? Marshall Faulk, a quarter of a century ago. These things don't happen. MVPs go to quarterbacks. Know some of this information, criteria for awards markets. Now is the time for you to dive deep in your research before the season starts.
And you do a great job of researching because you're sitting there on the sideline of college football every week. And how long does it take you to prepare for a college game that you're going to be sideline reporting on?
It takes a hot minute, Michael. And we do all this preliminary preseason preparation to get ready. But for me during the year, I'll do my game on Saturday and I'll find out my game on Sunday. So while I'm watching all of the games for the NFL, I am diving into everything that I can get in my wheelhouse as fast as possible. And doing my summer research ahead of time and having my Cliff Notes versions helps me get a head start. So absolutely important.
Yeah, so we talk about betting future markets all the time here on VSiN, and we look at lines down the road. Week 1, of course, you just mentioned all the MVP and all the award odds that won't pay off until January or February. So, and there's no way you could just go play games. But what is the caveat? What is the best way to be prepared to tie your money up for a long time?
Yeah, we're always talking here on VSiN about the importance of bankroll management, right? And don't, bet a certain figure if you don't feel comfortable losing that amount of money. Well, it's the same concept in futures. If you don't feel comfortable not being able to access funds or cash a ticket, in some cases until December or later, maybe these markets aren't for you, or at the very least, you need to have the awareness that you should potentially limit how many futures bets you're placing so that you have the cash flow you need once we're in season. Also, if you're placing bets this early, I would recommend trying to find more of those bang for your buck type bets when possible. It's probably not the most satisfying feeling in the world in June to be laying a -150 or a super heavy tax price for certain markets if you're unable to cash that ticket for a really long time. And as a reminder as well, like we talked about with Mike Somich, you can bet futures in season too once you have a better feel for a team, a player, or a division.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing a little more research once the game starts. So we're at VSiN. We recommend betting with DraftKings, obviously, but we encourage weighing other options before placing a bet. Tell us why that is so important, Stormy.
So, line shopping in general is vital. Having multiple applications for you to find the best number is so important. And there's a great breakdown in the guide from our own Matt Williams, giving tips for attacking prop markets. But one of the nuggets on line shopping I thought was excellent was detailing how significant this can be for bettors over time as you're betting regularly. So here's the Cliff Notes version. If you're a $100 bettor that makes 100 bets, you win 60 of them. At -110 odds, you're profiting just shy of $1,500. If you're placing those same bets at -130, it's a $615 profit. Significant difference. You're placing those same 100 bets at -150, you're just breaking even in the market. And I think from a futures conceptual perspective as well, as we look at a lot of these plus money type bets, right? We talk about Mike McDonald for Coach of the Year. If you see one sportsbook has 18 to 1, $100 to make 1,800, that sounds great. But what if you could get 22 to 1? What if you could get 25 to 1 at another sportsbook? So having that resource at your disposal, it's just one click to go from app to app. It's very quickly and easy. It's an easy thing for anyone to do anytime. Have those different applications at your beck and call so that you can find the best number available. Because in the short term, you might think, oh, -110, -120, that's not that big of a difference. Over time, it's significant.
Yeah, no question. Okay, so while the numbers change, NFL futures will still be posted throughout the season, and you're encouraging our audience to prepare accordingly.
Yeah, again, this was another conversation that Mike Somich talked about with the Arizona Cardinals and how he is targeting. He likes the one version of the season win total early on, but he thinks that there's an opportunity for a middle in the season. For me, I think that it's great now while we have this time to research, as we reference, to plan for certain situational spots in in-season futures. For example, I love the Los Angeles Rams this year. I like them to make the playoffs at +120, but the bet I like the most is over 8.5 wins. I don't want to lay -155 right now. So you look at their schedule, and while yes, their schedule is obviously baked into these prices, the Rams open the season with road games at Detroit and at San Francisco in 2 of their first 3 games of the season. Even though, again, the schedule is baked in, I think we're going to have perception and recency bias that could drive the juice of that price down a little bit if they start out 1-2 or 2-3, 2-3 like they have the last 2 years in terms of their early starts. I think instead of maybe -155, that creeps down -130, -120 in that range, and you're getting a better price on the same bet. And something that Matt Brown and I were talking about this weekend on The Handle was you can just set a little reminder in your calendar, like after week 3, check in on this team and just remind yourself about certain opportunities to bet.
I love it. And that's so good because you'll get numbers. I mean, we talked about it during the NBA playoffs, right? You may get a better number for Boston once Dallas won a game. Great advice. Great job, Stormy. It's all good. Love it.
Thanks, Michael.